Please show us your tips for Pro Group Racing midweek preview looking at Warwick Farm and Sandown on June the 30th, 2021. Beaver, how are you, mate?
Very good, thanks, Daggy. Half the way through the year, mate.
Yep, halfway there, halfway to Christmas. Nothing changes. Staying safe through lockdown, I assume?
Yes, not allowed out, mate. Nothing unusual. If it's not lockdown, it's the missus. So what's the difference, mate?
Fair enough. It's at least there's racing on this afternoon to get us through the day. Big weekend on the weekend, though. We tipped up a storm. I believe it was 7 from 8 at Queensland of the races we chose to tip in, and 5 from 8 Rose Hill, and a couple at Caulfield on top. So a nice day out for between the two of us, including some nice finds like Zaydani, Mirror Vision. You pretty much said Tafane was almost a good thing there as well. So a good day out, Beaver, and a bit to play with this afternoon.
Yeah, that's exactly right, mate. So it's a fantastic day on Saturday, and hopefully the punters followed the leads. A bit of a mixture between both of us, but there was winners there. So if they chose carefully, they would have had a nice day.
Exactly. Well, let's get into Warwick Farm, where we're on a heavy track, apparently about 9 mil overnight, looking quite wet, quite a few scratchings throughout the day, which we'll play by ear because I haven't had time to update my notes. But with the 2-year-old girls over 1,100 metres in the first, either of these 2-year-old races, did they interest you?
Yeah, the first I kind of let go through the keeper, mate. Found that a little bit tricky. In the second, I do think Dragonstone looks to be a really good chance and very hard to beat. I thought the first run, third, was pretty good. It was winding up late. I think it'll have derived a hell of a lot of racing experience and benefit from that. And I think could get the run down the middle of the track here and be hardest to beat.
Yeah, so sort of with you there. The first two are both over 1,100 metres. The boys is the second event, but the girls, I thought Sneaky Page trolled her right there. Not overly keen to bet either way. And what you said about Dragonstone was right. I like the trials of Clemenceau as well, but I just seem to be falling into these colours a lot lately with the first starters and for not a lot of return. But with the scratchings, I guess 3 and 4 are the obvious now in the second. Race number 3 is a benchmark 64 for the fillies. The overnight favourite Skedaddle has come out this morning. Does it leave you with much now?
It doesn't leave me with a lot now. There's a fair few in this that have some good runs last few starts, a few wins. About 4 or 5 of these are coming off a last start win, which means that they're obviously going well enough. Yeah, I couldn't really find a clear selection here with the scratching, and in a pretty open market, you're sort of getting $5 to $10 the field. So I've let this one go. Yeah, but a bit tricky for me.
Yeah. The two I would have spoken about have both come out. I suppose Taste Bud can probably be close to pace, but maybe it's been disappointing over the time. So we'll move on. Benchmark 72 over the mile is race number 4. Anything here you can find?
Yeah, I thought this was a pretty wide affair as well. Plenty of chances, which makes it an interesting race. I've gone for Un-American. Thought its first up run, 4th, was pretty good. Gets an extra 200 metres here. Probably still at its best, probably looking for further than this. But last preparation ran some really nice races and had a couple of nice wins before being tipped out. It's had a fair few trials this time in where it hasn't been extended. But going through its work, finished off nicely last start behind Kobe Rocks, only a length and a half off, and was hitting the line well. Should handle the softish track and gets a 1.5 kilo claim. So I think around the $6-7 mark, Un-American's a good each way chance.
I actually found the same horse. I liked its resumption. I know that Kobe Rocks hasn't really done a lot since that race, but I thought it coming through will be better for the run, and everything you've just said is right. From PK's legacy, but it's sort of provincial form and has had Alicia Collard on it, and she's just winning on everything in the provincials. So I was happy to look to the one with the Metro form, which was Un-American as well. Race number 5 over the 1,400 metres, this time another 72, again hit by scratchings. I've got the now favourite Dabari on top. I think it's going pretty well. Again, to the same race, so we'll have a form line. Beat home the horse we just spoke about. We'll have the form line there. Claiming the wet counts when it's on 56 minimum. He's taking 3 kilos off. I assume he can ride the 55.5. So he comes in and typical sort of Joe Pride Warwick Farm wet track setup, I feel like. And Dabari on top from me. How about yourself?
Yeah, no, I've gone Matawataki, however you bloody say it. It's third up after a spell here, so it gets to peak fitness. Its first 2 runs have been in much better quality than this race, Saturday form, and hasn't been too far off them. It's been hitting the line nicely in both of those races. It's always in and around the money. Not sure the heavy soft tracks it's best going, but won a nice trial on the heavy and then resumed on the soft and heavy, and it's only been sort of three to four lengths off the likes of Paper Warrior and Tycoonist and Shadow Crush, which have been in good form and racing in Saturday company and doing very well. So I think it can win a race like this.
Race number 6 is the girls benchmark 72 over the 1100 this time. Again, a wide open field. With the scratchings, I think Van Geer's getting a run here. I know it's top weight, 61 on a wet track is perhaps a concern, but I think it's the best horse here and just got nabbed by Bowery Breeze, who was backed off the map last time. Will run well again here. And I don't know, the rest are all sort of tied together. We talked about Salik on the weekend. I suppose if we gave her a chance then, we got to give her a chance here. And the one that I've just noticed, it's over the odds, $23, is Raisin Dietro. It's a horse you had a bit of an opinion of in a past life. It's sort of bumbling around a bit now, but I think in the 20s might be one for the wider exotics. Have you lined all of these up?
Yeah, I'm going for the fresh horse Arousal. Okay. Change of stable, only lightly raced, has had 1 win. Trials haven't been overly flash, but again, been trialling against. Last trial was pretty good prior to that. That wasn't extended, but it ran second to Frosty Rocks in the trial its last trial about 2 weeks ago. It should be, if it's primed up, a really good chance in a race like this. So I think it looks like a horse that may have a little bit of ability and only had a few starts. So I'm going for the lightly raced Arousal.
Yeah, I guess for a horse to have nearly 18 months off and come back, they must have an opinion of it. They wouldn't be spending too much time on a project when it's, a mare they could beef off with a metropolitan win. But yeah, no, fair enough. Interested to see how that goes. We wrap up the day on the heavy track, 1200 meter, another 72. As I glance through the scratchings, which doesn't leave us with a great deal, because the only other danger to the favourite was Ibrakaki, and Promise of Success is now $1.60 and will win. Thought it was a very nice Australian debut, and I thought the only concern was trying to get past the scratching there. So, yeah, Promise of Success should have a lap on some of these, actually. Anything to add?
Yeah. Last night I had it as my best bet of the day when it was around $2.25, but now at $1.50. It's pretty skinny. So, with those scratching, probably makes it a fairly good thing, or super hard to beat. Can't find anything to beat it.
Great. Well, for progretracing.com.au, check them out for their free tips and extensive guides. Your best and value. You're going to stick with the last there? It is a tough day.
Yeah, look, it's pretty tough now to come up with the best with that short price. So I'll give you a best bet is race 2, number 4, Dragonstone, as my best of the day. And my value bet comes up in race 6, number 12, Arousal.
Very good. I'll make Dabari my best, and I'll make my value an American, actually. So the couple earlier in the day, but tread warily on the wet track at Warwick Farm. We head down south to Sandown Lakeside. Track is soft at the moment. Rail is in the 3 meter mark. We're looking for standard Lakeside, I think, so on pace be the way to play the day. We kick off with the Class 1 over 1,300 meters, where I will hopefully go with the first leader. Race 1, number 1, Kentucky Casanova, should burn across and be hard to run down if it has the rail in its favour here. Nice enough debut at Swan Hill, and I just thought the flashing light from Crestani on a lakeside track where it's going to be here, come here and have to chase from last again, was under the odds. How do you start the day?
Yeah, look, I kind of went the same way with you, and I based that on the fact that I'm expecting Sandown maybe to be a bit of a leader's track again along the inside, and if that's the case, the first couple of races will tell us a lot there. I really like the debut of Semenak. Thought it was pretty good, and we'll get back, but it'll run on and chase really hard and hit the lines. So depending on the way the track's playing, if it's leader based, Kentucky Casanova should be hard to run down. But if backmarkers can finish off, Semenak could be the main danger.
Race 2 is a benchmark 64 over the 1,200 metres. I was speaking a little bit here. It's about the $10 mark, but I'm forgiving Rock of Kryptonite, where it went to Warrnambool and just struggled on the wet with the odd track there. And I think back on the dry, can roll 40 from gate 3, and around $10 is a good each way play for me here in a tough sort of race. How do you look at this one?
Yeah, I was a bit the same as you. I was just specking Rock of Kryptonite myself. I was willing to forgive last run. It was too bad to be true. So if it can bounce back, it can certainly finish in the top 3 here at good odds. So kind of come up with the same thing as you there.
Nice. Benchmark 70 over the 2,400 metre, the staying race of the day. You were quite keen on Mr. Mooj last time, and it got the chocolates. You sticking here?
Yeah, no reason not to stick with Mr. Mooj in this race. Probably a similar style of field, maybe even an easier field than last start. Its run was, it had the perfect run, but it did get to the front really early last start. But I liked the way that it just kept finding the line. It was good at one stage there, and sort of the last 100 or so, I thought maybe it was a sitting shot, but it fought on well. So Mr. Mooj for me.
I agree. I actually think this isn't a stronger race than the one it won last time, and now it's
no, that's what I thought.
You're still getting a good enough price. Will Price rides Lakeside really well. He'll gate 1. He'll roll forward and shouldn't be far away. And I think it's a great bet around the $4 mark.
Gets a nice little claim as well.
Yep. Fillies and Mares benchmark 70 over the 2,100 metres. Where I was going to stick with, a couple here. Just checking the scratchings. Carrie, the Japanese filly, or Japanese bred filly, was a nice enough win at Cranbourne. I think it gets the same setup. It'll roll forward. Gate 12, it's going to have to roll forward. I know it's carrying some weight, but some of the ones down the bottom are bush horses. And I think with the rail, if it is playing this way, can be hard to get past. From Perennial, who is the Perennial, but will be back from gate 16 and be giving up a big start. How do you line all of these up?
Yeah, it was pretty tricky. As you say, I thought the same as you. Carry looks probably the hardest to beat and hardest to get past. Perennial's been roundabout and it's going well enough. Just got to see a bit more and see it win first. And I thought the interesting Nothing Compares going south was had some Sydney form, had some Brizzy form, and now goes to Melbourne. We sometimes see that stuff does stack up. And interesting, Matthew Dyer's taken this horse to Melbourne, so I think Carry for me with Nothing Compares as a saver.
At the $9, that's a very good saver. Nothing Compares actually from that Canterbury run. Benchmark 70 over the 1,200 metres is race number 5. As I wait for my screen to update, there we go. The only one I might have expected odds here. This is a tough race. I was sort of keen on the Hawks horse, but it's come out, so I don't have a lot to add here. Did you have a bet?
No, I was a bit the same as you. Was leaning to that. I was trying just to find if there was any pace in this race, which was hard to do.
Yeah.
So I thought, I didn't really know how this was going to pan out, and therefore I was trying to find how this race would be run in speed maps. I thought something like, again, open race, Wilmot Pass just doesn't win for me. It always runs these cracking races, but it doesn't win. And then some of the others, just may get too far out of the ground. So I thought something like Tell Me Again, resuming from the Stokes yard, has strike rate at bringing these horses to Melbourne and popping up around the $10 mark. Might be on pace and could be hard to run down.
Yeah, well, that was my thinking of Sessions Road. But Tell Me Again might end up Tell Me Again and probably Rolling Moss from the gate roll across here. So, yeah, that's actually not a bad find coming off or going out in the superimpose last time. So, matches up to some of those horses. It'll beat these. Race number 6 over the 2100 meters is a benchmark 84. All of these older friends here, some Pruska horses. Anything take your fancy?
Yeah, I think Smoke and Romans looks to be the horse to beat here. I think it'll go forward, be up on pace, and be the hardest to run past in horses that haven't done much in recent runs, except for Smoke and Romans and Vegas Knight's been consistent. But Smoke and Romans here looks really hard to beat.
Yeah, probably it's the right run. I was leaning towards Vegas Knight just because I'm starting to get the feeling Smoke and Romans doesn't like winning, which was my concern. But they're the two obvious. If you have an equality, they'll be the only two I would look at here. Vegas Knight's going pretty well. Sad day back to midweek there. 1400 meter benchmark 70 is race number 7, where I thought that this race, I didn't like the race at all, to be honest. Wide market, a bit of pace. I'm sure they'll clump up, but I couldn't bet into this right now. It sounds like you're not that keen either.
No, not that keen here, mate. So, it's a really, not a great race at all. Again, getting the right feel for how they would go in regards to pace. Influential Jacks both runs this prep have been behind Scantoon, which is probably the good form lines for a race like this, which is probably why it's favourite. I thought a horse like Show Some Decorum won nicely last start, will sit just off pace and hit the line really well against some decent horses last start. So I didn't think it was the worst field that it beat. So maybe it can run well and give us a side around the $15 mark.
Nice. Benchmark 70 over the 1400 meters is the second last on the program. Are you sticking with Nick Spur after he redeemed himself last time?
Yeah, I am. I'm going to stick with Nick Spur. Nice bounce back to form last start. Was pretty good, but this is a good little race. The little Stevie's going really well at the moment and has a habit of putting herself in the race. And Ellis Park resumed very nicely and has the service of car aboard. So it's not without a chance, but I'm gonna stick with Nick Spur.
Yeah, I'm sticking with Nick as well. It might even have the turn of foot if there is a bias, but drawn from there shouldn't be too far away. Interesting horse maybe on the program is White Hibiscus. It flopped a bit when it got to the Saturday grade, but remember those two massive wins, or the two massive runs at Sandown at the short price where it looked like a world beater. Interesting how that comes back, how she comes back now. But Nickau, one of the better bets on the program, I think, barring anything. Out of the ordinary, race 9 is over the mile, where actually probably the best bet on the program comes up. Does Chief Altoni get its chance today?
It does get its chance today. Scratched last start, save for this. I've got it as my best bet of the day, but it's a good race. There's some good horses in this race.
Yeah.
Acceleration's going really well. All in Rock's going well. Bermudez had its colours lowered last start, so interesting to see how it comes back. And even Face Mask was pretty good last start. So there's plenty of horses here that are going well, but I just think Chief Altony is a Saturday class horse, as some of these may well be. And at $3.50, I think that's not a bad value.
Yeah, with the claim
and you might even get better.
With the claim comes in, with 59 as well. So on a 58 for those looking for their weights on a softish track. But gate 2, I would hope Tommy Stockdale, who does ride Sandown well as well, gets it sort of leaders back or avoids the issues it had in transit at Flemington, and it should have a turn of foot to have a lot of these covered. But I think there'll be some form out of this race. I've still got an opinion of Bermudez, and I think acceleration, not the right track for it, but will run well again. Your best end value at Sandown Lakeside?
Yeah, my value comes up in race 5, number 14. Tell me again, at the double figure odds. And my best, I went for Smoke and Romans, race 6, number 11.
Nice. I'm actually going to make my best. More I've thought about it. It's going to make my best Mr. Moosh. I think it gets a lovely setup here. If it repeats a run, it'll run really well. And I'll make my value as I come back here. I'm going to make it Rocket of Kryptonite. Hopefully, it can bounce back around to $10. Race 2, number 2. You got anything for us up north there, Beaver?
Yeah, I got a couple up north. It was pretty tricky up there today, but you could get a good track. So back at Eagle Farm, I thought race 3, number 3, Watch the Cat. I think it can get a victory up today. So that's one of my bets. And I had one later in the day, and that came up in race 6, number 7, Gin and Bitters. Was well supported last start. Probably wasn't disgraced, and I think it can bounce back and win in midweek company.
Well, yeah,
two in Brizzy.
We were waiting for that to come to Sydney at one point, weren't we? So,
yes, we were.
Very good. For progrerracing.com.au, check them out for their free tips, extensive guides, and plenty going on. This has been Show Us Your Tips. We'll be back on Thursday night with our Saturday preview. Back to Sydney and Melbourne land, I think, Beaver, for previews, but I'll double check that. And we'll talk to everyone soon. Good luck, punters.